Russia. Russia is Russia. Russia. The Russian.
Russia.
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 Russia. The Russians. The Russian. Russia. And the Russia.
The Russia.
Russia.
The Russian. Russia.
Russia. Russia. Russia. Russia.
That is great. Who edited that? That's all
was just
from last week.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Hogan Gidley saw all that but didn't do the editing, but he knows about it. He's White House Press Secretary. Deputy Press Secretary. Hogan, does it seem like the Russia story never ends? And can you add anything to who's going to be on the president's legal team now that the two new lawyers are now out?
Well, I have to say, I don't know who edited that little clip, but that seems like my dreams most nights. Because when I'm in my office watching television news, that's all we hear about is Russia. We don't hear there's no collusion. We don't hear the facts that after a year and a half of spending money, us sending over all of our documents and making witnesses available, there's no collusion there. We don't hear that. All we hear is Russia is a huge problem for this administration, and it's just simply not.
What about the legal team? Can you have any update on who's going to be joining Jay Sekulow?
Obviously, I can't really talk about the president's personal attorneys. I'm not privy to those conversations, but I guarantee you they'll be out there fighting for the president and getting the truth out there, which is that there's no collusion between President Donald Trump and the Russian government.
It sounds like Joe DeGeneva and Victoria Tenzing, who are going to sign on, because their firm represents some other people involved in the probe. They will not be representing the president. It sounds like, according to some news reports, Hogan, that as early as today, the president could expel a number of Russian diplomats in solidarity with the Great British, the folks over in Great Britain, because they expelled 23 people after that poisoning of the spy and his daughter using that toxic nerve agent.
Right. Well, the president's been very clear that we will impose costs on Russia when it is in our interest to do so. And when it's in our interest to work with Russia, we'll do that as well. This president has not softened or weakened any position that Barack Obama had on Russia, and in fact, he's gone much further. You'll remember that we gave lethal aid to the Ukraine. We sent troops into Poland. We authorized the bombing in Syria, which was something that Barack Obama never did or would do. We even expanded oil exports into Eastern Europe, something Barack Obama didn't do. So this president knows what's right on the international stage and how to deal with Russia. And when we need them as a partner and an ally to defeat ISIS or terrorism, he works with them. But when they do things like they did in England with the poisoning of that individual, we sanction them. We stand up against them when we need to.
Yeah, Hogan, let's talk about the budget bill. The president is now saying, or he kind of hinted around at least on Twitter over the weekend, that he could use all of that military funding. There was a lot of military funding going into the pocketbooks of those men and women that are fighting for our country. But there's a lot of extra money to be used, more than what they asked for, more than what the White House asked for. So there's talk that he might use that extra money to build the wall. Since he didn't get the funding, he only got 1.6.
That was his Twitter.
You're right. His Twitter was saying we might use the military money to fund the wall. Is that going to happen?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of his announcement, but I can say this is one reason that the
Wait,
Hispanic
what announcement?
Well, if he's going to make an announcement how he spends that money to build the wall. But I can say that's one of the major victories for the American people in this piece of legislation that the president pushed, which was actually building a wall. I mean, that's something the president ran on. It's something, one of the reasons I think he got elected, because he understands that walls work, whether it's around Jerusalem, where they saw a 99% reduction in illegal crossings, or whether it's around San Diego, where they saw a 95% reduction in illegal crossings. The president understands that walls work. For whatever reason, Democrats used to be for a wall. They used to vote for it. They used to say that was important. Bill Clinton pushed for a wall in San Diego. So did Hillary Clinton. And for whatever reason, Democrats have decided they're against border security. They're against the American people in this way. And the president wants to protect this nation. And as you guys know, the #1 function of the federal government is to protect the American people.
Well, Hogan, you're leaving out the Republicans. It was a Republican-led Congress that came up with this bill that stripped all of the stuff the president wanted regarding immigration for the most part. He got $1.6 billion for fence, not a wall.
That's actually incorrect. We actually can build a wall with this money, but there are political realities that exist in this
country.
country.
Can I stop you there? Because that is because the speaker told us you can use concrete. Senator Schumer says you can't. Only improve the fence. What are you saying there? You can use it?
It's my understanding you can. The Hispanic caucus came out vehemently against this bill for two reasons. One is because, as in the letter that they wrote to the president, which was it bolsters the president's deportation force, quote unquote, and it builds a wall. They're against it for those reasons.
Right.
So the secret is this is not an ending point, actually, for the president. It's a starting point. We've got to do more to protect this nation. This bill is a start, but you know the president ran on building the military. That's what this bill does, and the political reality exists in this town where everything we wanted to rebuild the military, something the president ran on, the Democrats came forth and said, every dollar you get for the military, we want for our pet projects here at home. And that was the trade-off the president made. He didn't want to sign the bill, as you heard in his press conference.
But if he threatened to veto earlier, he might have gotten a better deal. Don't you agree?
No, I wouldn't say that. Look, we deal with a Congress here who is against the president from the Democrat side. Obviously, some Republicans. We can't get them all under our tent every time, but the president did get what he wanted and what he promised to do for the American people, which is rebuild the military and actually give a pay raise, the largest pay raise in 10 years to our troops, which they sorely deserve.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great. I think the reason no one knows if they can or can't build a wall with a 1.6 was so big.
Nobody's read it.
It was exactly 2,200 pages. All right, let's talk about shakeups within the White House. We're hearing there might be another shakeup, that Secretary Shulkin might be out, Dr. Shulkin, who is over the VA. Is that true?
Well, we hear these types of rumors every day. I heard another network that shall remain nameless, but let's just say fake news is proper on that network. And what they said was for 2 months, they said McMaster was out. McMaster was out. And then when he gets out, they said, see, we were right. Well, you were wrong because you misreported it for 2 months. The bottom line is we all serve at the pleasure of the president. And if he's not pleased, you'll know it. At this point in time, though, he does have confidence in Dr. Shulkin. He is a secretary, and he's done some great things at the VA. But as you know, the president wants to put the right people in the right place at the right time, and that could change.
You see, Hogan, what I have heard from people in Washington close to the president is that he would like to fire him today, but he doesn't have a replacement.
I've not heard that, but again, when the president wants to make a change, he'll make it. He doesn't have to try. He doesn't have to guess. He's got the power to do so, and whether he has a replacement or not, he can still make the change. The president wants to put the best people around him to execute his policy. The VA has gone into disrepair. One of the successes in the omnibus bill was $84 billion in there to streamline the VA and actually build infrastructure there so that our troops, the people who put their lives on the line every day, get the health care they deserve. That's something that he wants to have happen. Shulkin's been working to do that, and we'll see if that continues for the future.
And the word is he's underachieving. But Hogan, thanks so much.
Thank you. Great to see you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Is there a civil war brewing among Democrats? Wait until you hear why Senator Claire McCaskill just slammed Hillary Clinton.
Plus, some of the hottest sports cars of the year are on the plaza, including the brand new Corvette. Jillian is behind the wheel and will be out there in about 3 minutes.